Is going on, y'all? Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. See, we got couple people coming in here. How's y'all's week going? Been a couple days. Did a live stream Sunday, I think it was. Back at it again, middle of the week for pretty awesome surprise to me. These were supposed to come a while ago, like 3 or 4 days ago, and they just showed up in the mail. And as soon as we get some more people in here, I'm going to do some unboxing stuff, but I'm going to wait for a couple more people to get in here. But how are y'all doing? A little odd time, middle of the week, but hopefully y'all are having a great day, a kick-ass week. And yeah, like I said, once we get a couple more people in here, we'll get to the unboxing here. But let me know how y'all's day is going, how y'all's weeks are going. But yeah, my week, pretty stock standard. Not a ton of crazy stuff going on, I'm not gonna lie. But I will say, before we get into this unboxing, I do have some relevant pieces of gear that I can show off that kind of relate to what we're unboxing. The thumbnail of the live stream kind of gives a hint to it, but first one here is going to be this Spyderco Para 3. This is the lightweight version that I have custom scales on. Nothing fancy here, pretty budget type steel. Aluminum handles, nice pocket clip, really nice there. The next one is going to be the Spyderco Manix 2, one of my favorites from Spyderco, sweet. Love this knife a lot. The handles are really nice. Pocket clip I bought separately, that didn't come with the knife, but overall just a really nice profile. And the next one here is the Spyderco Bodacious, and I really love this one. I put these scales on myself, pocket clip also as well, and really nice overall blade shape for general cutting. Really nice EDC blade. But now that we got a couple of people in here, let's kick off this unboxing. First thing, these are all coming from a company, or not necessarily a company, but a dude. Goes by the name of DZ Custom EDC. Really sick dude. And let's get into some of the stuff that I got in from him. So I've already unboxed this technically, so it's not in the box, but I'm going to show you all the stuff that I got. First thing is these 3D printed sort of like lanyard beads, sort of these atomic bomb looking things here. You got a multicolored one here, gray little bomb bead, and then an all black one here. Really sick. He printed these himself and let me know he's going to be making some other stuff here pretty soon that is on my radar for sure. And then another thing in here, which I wasn't expecting. I wasn't expecting the beads or this right here, but he threw in this hank, which I'm a big fan of. I love these little sort of microfiber hanks. This one says keeping it neat up on the front, and it is designed by All American Makers, made by Awesome Hank. Really handy. If you don't carry a pocket handkerchief like this is useful in so many ways, whether that be cleaning up like a little spill that happens, if you're using a knife to cut some like fruit or anything like that, using this to wipe it off, and just overall general, like if I need to clean my phone screen, this comes in really handy. So I like carrying one of these with me, so this was a very nice surprise in the box. But with all that out of the way, let's get to the exciting stuff. And what we're talking about here is 2 Spyderco knives. And one was originally mine that I sent off to him. If you're not familiar with this guy, DZ Custom EDC, he does some of the most kick-ass customizing on knives. Been following him for a while and finally got the chance to send him some stuff to get customized. And so that is why we have two Spydercos here. One originally was mine, and then one I bought off of him, which he then did some custom work to as well. So let's start with the one that I sent him. It's been missing a spot in my rotation for a minute, but here we go. So this is another Spyderco Para 3. This one is rocking 10V steel, aluminum handles, and I'm gonna kind of go over everything that he did to this guy right here. The handles, the scales here were originally like a cobalt sort of like titanium blue, like almost this, but a little bit duller of a color. And so he took all the color off, stone washed them, and did this amazing like stone wash pattern here. Fits really, really well. And then on the blade, a couple things are different here. This went from being a completely black, like full on black coated, like PVD, DLC kind of coating. So he stripped it off and did a really dark stone wash on here. This side kind of shows it a little bit better. So nice stone wash pattern. He did add a sharpening choil right here. So normally on Spydercos, I'll bring out this one right here. This edge goes all the way back to this little hump right here. But what he did is he added a little notch right here in the blade, which helps with sharpening, makes it a hell of a lot easier to do so. And the thing I'm most excited for, Luna, what's up? How's it going? Is this pattern on the blade. He does this like texturing pattern, both on the spine here, and then hopefully it'll show, but on the inside as well. Just did a full like rock texturing on the spine, which is absolutely fucking fantastic. He sharpened the blade up as well, and then he sort of color matched all of the hardware back here. Overall, a really, really clean design. It looks really cool. I agree, man. So yeah, this was the first one. Again, Spyderco Para 3, solid option if you're looking for an overall daily use kind of knife. The Para 3, hands down, has been one of my favorite knives for a very long time. So that is that one. Now let's get to the other one that is probably going to be my new favorite. And that is this guy right here. So this is the Spyderco Yojimbo. Very nice, sort of along the self-defense line style of EDC. So it has a bit more of a tactical look to it, but these scales started off as a like almost jade color, light green, like transparent sort of G10 material. So he went ahead, dyed them black, and then did this really nice texturing pattern on the scales here. And then again on the back side here. He did a bronze coating or anodizing on all of the hardware. So it's got this like black and bronze sort of look to it, which I really dig. And then again on the spine, the same sort of custom pattern. Really, really nice. So let's get this one opened up. And here we go. Again, had the same sort of full black finish to it, which he stripped off, did the same like aggressive sort of stone washing. Added the same little cutout right here in the blade. Bartugs, what's up, dude? Yeah, added this nice, really sharpening choil. And this might be one of my new favorite knives. It is incredibly comfortable, and the blade is actually hollow ground, which if you're unfamiliar with what that means, most blades will have a couple of different ways that they decrease the amount of material that's on the blade. This one is a full flat grind. So there is just a straight sort of decrease in thickness as you get closer to the edge. But on something like this, the flat here is as thick as it gets. And then once you get closer to where this line is right here, it's sort of like caved in inward and then towards the blade. So it's a really aggressive, like, I don't know how well that's going to pick up. But it's almost like a rounded sort of swoop into the blade, which gives it an incredibly thin edge and makes it really, really good for cutting and getting through a bunch of different materials. So I've got some paper here. Let's check out how both of these edges are. Because like I said, he did resharpen both of these. I don't know if I said it, but this one is in M4 steel, which is such a fantastic sort of all-purpose type of blade steel. Holds an edge for forever, is incredibly tough, so it's pretty resistant when it comes to chipping and stuff like that during more hard use kind of tasks, which is great for this kind of blade profile because the edge is incredibly thin, and any sort of hard use on a softer type of steel will just chip away at the edge. But let's check this out and see how we do here. Okay, all right. That is, I mean, I'm not even trying. Get a better angle here. That's nuts. That's nuts. Let's check out the para 3 that he did. I assume it's going to be pretty much on the same level. Yeah. That's nuts, dude. That's crazy. All right. That was fantastic. And the nature of both of these steels, these are very much long-term hard use kind of steels. So these edges, in theory, should hold up fantastically well. But dude, this is just such, these are so good. A little bit of oil left on the blade, which is fine. Sort of clean them off here. But yeah, that's all I've got in. Figured I'd give you guys a little bit of an unboxing here because I was stoked about these. And yeah, this one is going to be spending a shit ton of time in the pockets. I'm really stoked for this one. But also, if you're new here, one of the other sort of newer things that I've gotten in is this guy, which is a very expensive knife. This is a McNeese Mac 2, which if you're familiar with this knife, you already know. But if you're not, this retails for about $600. Which is crazy expensive, but it's entirely made in the USA. The handle scales and most of the hardware, if not all of the hardware, is also made of titanium. So titanium pocket clip. I believe the screws are also titanium, but I could be mistaken. And this is one of the smoothest knives I've ever handled. I absolutely love this thing. But I did not pay $600 for this. I actually got this for $300. So still generally pretty expensive, but quite a bit lower than the $600 price tag that this goes for brand new. I saw a comment here. My grandfather has a titanium carbide knife that he never sharpened and is still razor sharp. Yeah. Titanium, here's what I'll say on that. Titanium is incredibly strong and tough and lightweight. It can be very, very sharp. The problem is when you hard use it, the fine edge that you may put on a titanium blade will dull out very, very quickly. However, the working edge, which if you're, chopping wood, stuff like that, basically any sort of thin edge geometry with hard enough pressure will still cut. Um, but like I said, the fine edge that you get on something like this, where you're cutting through paper with zero effort, um, that type of edge, when using titanium as a blade steel, tends to go away pretty rapidly. But like I said, it's pretty tough and decently strong, but it's still really cool to have a knife blade made out of titanium. It's not something I have experienced, but seems very interesting. So that's really cool. Maybe he sharpens it behind my back. It's possible. It's possible. But yeah, if he's keeping a razor edge, if he's keeping a razor sharp edge on that titanium blade, he most definitely has got to do some sort of sharpening, because titanium is inherently not as durable as steel when it comes to like thinness in that regards, like a knife blade. Steel is going to outperform titanium all the time, even though titanium is inherently stronger. But that's still really rad. I might have to check out one of those titanium blades, because I genuinely don't know much about them, but I'm sure I could find one and check one out. I'm sure it wouldn't be too hard to find. Yeah. How's everybody's day going? How y'all doing? How's y'all's weeks going? Just how are y'all doing? I'm still just going crazy over how good this looks. Like I said, normally most knives will have this straight looking. It's not tight. It's not just, titanium carbide. That does tend to make a difference. That does make a difference. So yeah, titanium carbide. Yeah, it's possible. I don't know anything about the edge retention in regards to something like that, but yeah, in that regard, it would get pretty good results. I also don't know how like the heat treating process or like tempering titanium would go, but it sounds really interesting. I'd be really intrigued to check one of those out. But yeah, normally on a knife like spine, you'll have just a flat pattern. What's your favorite knife style? It's an interesting question. I don't really have a favorite like knife style. If we're talking blade shape, I can take this a couple of ways. If we're talking blade shape, it's got to be something similar to what this knife is rocking. So this is the Tenable Knives Fenrir, and this blade shape is incredible. Mixed with the integrated like forward choke up spot here. This is probably one of my favorite blade shapes. One, it's tactical as hell and looks sick. But on top of that, it is extremely comfortable to use. So if you're going to be cutting anything for a long period of time, it's insanely comfortable in the hand. And as well, just it looks super nice. It's really functional. This sort of harpoon sort of shape here gives you your thumb a nice sort of landing resting spot. And overall, I just really like this type of blade shape, which is also kind of why I really like this one as well, because this sort of dip in the middle here gives your thumb a really good place to land on while you're cutting. So something like that is definitely on the top of my list. But also something like this Spyderco Manix 2 is really well designed as well in that manner because you have this, again, integrated forward choke up spot. And there's no real like hump necessarily on the Yojimbo, the one I just showed, or like a ramp for your thumb to rest on, but it's also very like neutral back here. So your thumb can go in a variety of different places depending on how much force you need on your cut. More times than not, my thumb is right above this hole right here, and that seems to work really, really well. But overall, this knife is insanely designed. It's incredibly comfortable to hold, and yeah, there's not really any sort of spots where my fingers are getting caught up or anything pressing into my hand. Take You Enjoy tactical foldables. Generally, the most tactical knives I have right now are going to be these two, because this one was designed primarily for self-defense and then made its way into the EDC space, and this one just looks sick as hell. But I do also really like something like this. This is the Kaiser Pokemon, really interesting name. But something like this as well is really utilitarian because you have a full blade edge here, but also a really thin tip for doing like fine sort of like if you wanted to skin with this, you probably could. But yeah, this blade shape is also really, really nice. And then I got to give props to this guy, the Benchmade Bug Out. It's nothing crazy. It's a really simple, no nonsense design, but the blade shape is just really, really good. Due to how the blade is designed, you can get that tip right in a really good spot to do like drag cuts, like package opening, stuff like that. But also you have a good enough amount of blade to do a lot of different cutting tasks. And the edge itself is, or not the edge, but the blade stock itself is pretty thin. So this makes an incredible slicer for cutting down boxes, doing any sort of food prep stuff like that. This blade shape is really good. But if we're talking overall blade design and everything that goes into that aspect, you only need M9 bayonets. I don't. I probably should get my hands on one of those, being that I'm in the military. I probably should have one at some point, but I don't. Not at the moment. Like I was saying, if we're going to like overall knife design, I got to give it to the Para 3. This one is basically about as custom as you can get. Custom scales, custom blade on here, different pocket clip. Really the only thing that's OEM on here or stock on here is the lock itself, and the hardware is the only thing that is still out of the box as it was. But this knife is so insanely comfortable. Again, this sort of hump here is a really good landing spot to keep your thumb locked in, especially when doing any sort of high strength cutting. Your hand is just so locked in here. There's no chance, due to you have jimping here and jimping on the back here, which lock your hand in place. So there's no sort of fear of slipping out of your grip here. You just go to town. I love this blade design. I love this blade profile altogether. The way it's all put together is one of the reasons why it is my favorite knife design of all time. You get a really good amount of blade, really good amount of handle, and yeah, this is just such a good knife design. And one of the reasons that this is the only knife in my collection that I've doubled up on. It's just so good. And so yeah, if we're talking about blade shape, it's going to be down to the more tactical looking ones, just because I think they look sick as hell and they're super functional. But if we're talking about overall knife design, everything put together, I got to give it to the Para 3. It's been my favorite knife for going on 3 or 4 years now. And I don't see that changing anytime soon because it's it's just such a well put together knife. Everything about it is really, really good. I don't have anything to complain about when it comes to the Para 3. I hope that answers your question. It was kind of a long-winded explanation. I kind of went two ways with it. Um, but yeah, I love this knife. Really, really nice. I liked it before, but with the customizing done on it, this just makes it so much better. Um, yeah, it's really, really nice. What other questions y'all got? I like doing these sort of Q&As, so let me know. Let me know what y'all got on your minds, anything I can answer for y'all, anything I can try and answer, because I am not a professional in any regards, but I do my best. I do my best. So yeah, just let me know. You know, if y'all have questions, y'all just want to talk. If there's anything you want to see in here, let me know. Yeah, let me know. My camera is dirty. I gotta figure out a new live streaming setup. This is fine. I just feel like it could be better. I did redo this entire office, so this space is a lot better, but I'm using my phone. I have a camera. I have a very nice camera right here that I record my videos on. And I need to figure out a way to get that into a live streaming type of thing. I want to up the quality on this. I don't want to keep doing this sort of vertical type of live streaming. I want to get this more professional. So this is short term until I can figure out something else. But I hope you like it. I hope this is fun for y'all. It's fun for me. I like doing these. I've only been doing these for a very short time, even though I've been on YouTube for 4 years now, 3 years, something like that, which is crazy. So yeah, probably looking at hopefully trying to upgrade this live stream setup here in the near future. But until then, we got this. So we'll roll with it. Back to, if you have your knives on display behind you, I believe it would spark. I do. Normally, I do have this display loaded with my knife collection. I did take basically all of them out to kind of show off and highlight these two guys right here. But I normally do have these guys set up right here. Set these back in here. Which is crazy. This display here, I mean, hanging vertically. Okay, I could see that. I just don't know how I would do that. I was thinking about maybe doing some sort of like something like that, but with it being in the background, it's kind of hard to see. And then it's really inconvenient if that bumps off and then I have more than likely a broken tip. I get what you're saying, and I've thought about it. I just am really unsure of how to make that happen, if that makes any sense. I probably could put some sort of like magnet strip right here and have them saying, true, I'm sure you'll figure it out. Yeah, I'll do some more thinking. It could be. I feel like it could be a nice display here. But the only way I could think about displaying them more out in the open is putting like a magnet strip right here and then having like a display like that. But then the problem that I run into is now I have like 7 open knives out in the wild. And that doesn't necessarily feel like the safest thing. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I could get I don't know. There's no great way that I've thought about yet, but I will do some more thinking and we'll see if I can make something work here. Um, but back to what you were saying earlier about the tactical foldables, I also do have, aside from folding knives, I do have some fixed blades. I do like carrying some fixed blades as well. Don't they all have a hook type situation? They do. They all have lanyard loops, and I did not think about that until just now. You are absolutely right. I can put some hooks on here and hook them on there. This is why y'all are smarter than me. This is why y'all are smarter than me. These are some of my favorite fixed blades that I have acquired over the last 2 years, 2.5 years, something like that. This one is definitely the newest, and it's a nice little pocket-sized fixed blade, nothing crazy. It's got a nice color combination to it, a nice like earthy tone. Really nice feeling in the hand. And one of the things that I am not the biggest fan of when it comes to pocket clips or fixed blades, carrying them in pockets, is they're pretty bulky, especially when you add a sheath on top. Because something like this is an insanely thin knife. And if it was a folding knife, this would be an insanely thin profile, probably the thinnest folded up profile that I have in the collection. The problem is the sheath, when you accommodate a pocket clip or any sort of mounting solution, it adds so much bulk. And then on top of that, it just takes a lot more work to get out of the pocket, back into the pocket, while also avoiding stabbing yourself in the leg, bleeding out, and being in a whole lot of danger. That's not fun. It's my only gripe with pocket clips, or with pocket fixed blades. But I do still carry them because I enjoy carrying fixed blades. They are very convenient for the most part, and I don't know, I like the design of them. This one is really nice. Has a really nice canvas micarta to it. Blade steel is 14C28N, so a nice little budget steel. I think this one is about $50. A leather sheath would help with the bulky feel. 100%. Problem is something like this that is $50. Most of the time, custom leather sheaths run anywhere in the ballpark of 100 to 125, 150 bucks. And for me, spending that on a $50 knife doesn't make the most sense. I've thought about it. I've definitely thought about it. But that's one of the reasons I still haven't pulled the trigger on it. But then as well, this isn't necessarily the most popular design. I know there are companies that make like a universal leather pocket sheath. But even still, I don't know. This isn't the worst when it comes to pocket sheath. This is not the worst. Mostly due to the fact that it's such a small blade that I haven't really run into much problems when it comes to bulking up the pockets. But the most interesting one that I have is probably this guy right here. This is the Travax Trek fixed blade. Made in USA, S35V and blade steel, so pretty solid. And there's no handle scales. It is just a piece of steel, which I like, especially when it comes to like in the pocket kind of feel. This really just disappears because it is paper thin, but it's still really comfortable and insanely tough, durable, and everything you like about a fixed blade. And the sheath matches that. It is such a thin sheath that even though it is insanely wide, like F-150 bulky, CNC knives are always a cool to look at. Yeah, 100%. And that's the coolest thing about the blade grind here is it's a CNC'd edge. So the milling right here, getting the edge down to where it thins out, all CNC'd. Really, really nice. And I think this one retails for like 160 bucks, something like that, right at or under 200 bucks. For a USA fixed blade, S35VN steel, it's not a bad option. Even though I wish the sheath would be better. It's not the worst. I've kind of kept around the fixed blades that I don't hate the sheath on. So even though this one's big, the sheer amount of thinness kind of makes up for it. So there's that one. My second favorite fixed blade is going to be this one right here. Again, a little bit of a bulky sheath, but this one I do run on my belt. So I have a belt clip here. I clip it onto my right side and I run it that way. So this, I don't care how bulky it is. It's not in my pocket. But I love this fixed blade. Brass handle scales, a really interesting looking sort of sheep's foot Wharncliffe blade. It's MagnaCut. This one's made in Canada, so it's not USA made, but it's really just an overall really nice fixed blade design. Really good for, those package opening type of cuts. Not the best for food prep because there is no belly to it. It's just pretty much a straight edge. And so if I was doing this for any sort of food prep, I would wear out the tip way too fast, or I would have to chop food like off the edge of the cutting board. And that's not convenient. But this handle is pretty much just daily office type tasks, opening packages, cutting down boxes, stuff like that. So nothing crazy, but this is still really one of my favorites to carry around because it's such a sick looking knife. But my favorite fixed blade has been for probably 3 or 4 years now is this guy. And this is the Bradford Guardian 3. I chopped up the stock leather sheath here. It was originally made to be worn on the belt. Poked some holes in it, added a pocket clip, and this is just such a good knife. Really thick handles, which fills out the hand really nicely. About a 3-inch blade here, and this one is M390 steel. Really, really like this one. This has gone through so much abuse. I have a full video talking about why I love this one so much. Back way, probably like a year ago on this channel. Going over why this is one of my favorite fixed blades of all time. This has just seen so much abuse back from when I was working in HVAC. This was my main knife through pretty much that whole time. I love this knife. I absolutely love this knife. Again, USA made. And I want to say this one goes for right about in between $200, $250, something like that. Don't quote me. I haven't checked prices on these in a very long time. But if my memory serves me right, these should be somewhere in that $200 to $250 price range. And Bradford has so many options when it comes to this knife, which makes it also one of the reasons it's my favorite knife. There's so many options when it comes down to blade steel, handle materials. They have these like rounded contoured scales, but also like flat, textured kind of diamond pattern scales. Really, really nice. They have steels ranging from, man, hope I didn't take too much of your time. It was a pleasure watching. Absolutely, man, no problem. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. We're here to have a good time, have some conversations, and I had a good time. I hope you had a good time. It sounds like you did. And wow. It's nighttime and my brain starts shutting off at nighttime. But I hope you have a good one. I'll catch you on the next one, man. But yeah, Bradford, they offer this knife in a whole range of steels, going from like AEBL N690, the more budget kind of steels, up to, I think they have S35, maybe. I know they have S45VN, M390, MagnaCut, LMAX, and those are just the ones that I remember the last time I hopped on their website. This is such a good knife. Overall, a really nice profile in the hand, and it's so good. Especially when you pair it with my Frankenstein kind of pocket sheath here. Makes it just so much better. I think every knife deserves a good sheath, leather pocket sheath if you can swing it, but this is the best sort of overall solution when it comes to carrying a fixed blade in your pocket. That's my take. That's my hot take. But I think that's going to do it for tonight. Hope you guys have a kick-ass rest of your week. I had a good time. I hope y'all had a good time. And with all of that out of the way, I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.